Hey, what's going on, guys? James Powell here. So today this is a how to win video, and I hope that it is useful for you. So this was my first attempt at it, and I did try to record it before, but my voice I wasn't very loud, so this is actually a voiceover, so I know what happens. So something that you want to do is try to find like a place that you know is good to land, and like you never find anyone there. So for me, I had Lonely Lodge marked down as like somewhere that I would want to go because there's an expedition outpost that you can get ballers from. There's lots of mats there, and there's pretty good loot. So I first noticed that this other person was going here. So I looked to see where he was going, and I noticed that he was going to the lodge. So I decided to stick with my normal route and go to the tower. So instead of going to the lodge, where I probably would have gotten a 50-50 fight, it would have just been RNG. So the tower is a pretty good location, and it can have a spawn rate of up to 3 chests, and it can also have 3 ammo boxes, and a few floor spawns on the way down. So I found these chug splashes here, and I do decide to use them. And I noticed that he had like broken into the lodge and everything, so he did actually land lodge. So I was trying to avoid him for as long as possible. Something you want to do is if you don't have the weapons that you really want, you should stick away from your opponents until you have like the necessary weapons that you really need to win. Another thing you should try to do is get as high health and shield as possible and get some good mats. As you can see, I'm farming up like every tree that I can, and also grabbing these mushrooms because they will help me get higher health. Something you should also make sure to do is to go around and like learn your landing spots. So if that means going into playground for you, landing there, mapping out the location, finding like a way that you're gonna go when you're landing. Like I like going to the tower, then to this little hut here, then up to this little whatever you want to call it, plateau, whatever. Then I like to normally go over to the lodge, or not the lodge first, like there's a little well, normally I like to go to the lodge, but I went here because I knew that the enemy was there. So I was trying to get better loot, which is something you should always try to do for as long as possible. And as you can see, I got more chug splashes, and I'm going under here because I know there's a chest. Unfortunately, I was not able to get what I wanted from this chest, so I'm still gathering resources for in case I get into a fight, so that I can stay as high ground and make sure to avoid the shots as much as possible. As you could also see, I built behind myself because I don't know where he is, and I don't want him to be able to shoot me from behind randomly. As you can see, it is also in 2x speed right now. This is just because I am in the just in the regular looting process that I do. So I noticed that he hasn't really looted it, so if I do find him, he shouldn't be at that good he shouldn't have that good loot. Right now I get the loot, and then I noticed that so like if you aren't gonna be there for like a few seconds, you should always box up, or in my case I just had to build a wall so that I would be safe, because you never know when there's gonna be those snipers who are just hard scoping anywhere, looking around. And as you could see, while I was on the zip line, I was trying to farm the tree. That's a good idea that you can do to get some quick mats on the go. As you can tell, I still didn't have the shotgun, but I knew that there was a vending machine down there, so when I checked, I saw it, and I went down to see if it had anything good. And for in my favor, I got the purple combat shotgun, which is a very useful item. This video was before the drum shotgun was released, but the meta hasn't changed too much since that, because nothing really changed. So I am now in like the mid-game section of this, so which isn't the most complicated part of it. The most complicated part to survive are the early game and the late game. As you can tell, I have the visualized sound effects on, so I saw the driftboard, so I went away from it. And then before I'm going into the pressure plant, I am seeing that it is already looted, so I am not going to go into it because I don't know if there's anyone hiding out there. So right now I am just moving around on my baller, which is something that you want to do if you're in a baller, is you want to keep moving around, because then it will be harder for people to damage your baller, which could lead to you not really having as much of a chance of staying alive as long as possible. The ballers are a very useful item. And if you want to win easily, you should definitely try to go somewhere where you can find where you know you can find a baller. So as you can see, I knew that I got damage from it, so I know that there is another baller spawn over here. So I decided to go over to get a fresh baller because it has more health. That's also something you should do, is locate as many baller spawns as you can that you think you might have to go by. If you don't know the baller spawns, then if your baller gets damaged, it'll be very hard for you to keep your baller alive long as possible. But here I'm trying to locate if there's anywhere that I could hide out without anyone noticing me. And right here I do notice that I am out of circle. So I am marking places that are good, which are like Lonely Lodge, Happy Hamlet, because they're out of the way and they have baller spawns and good loot. Happy Hamlet doesn't have as much mats, but it has better loot. Lonely Lodge has more mats, but not as much loot. It really depends on how you play. If you are good at building, if you are better at building than you are at aiming and everything, then it would probably be better for you to take the route of Lonely Lodge. But if you are better at aiming than you're at building, I don't know if I just repeated the same thing. You should go Happy Hamlet if you can aim better than build, and if you build better than you aim, you should probably go Lonely Lodge. So I build better than I aim, so I went Lonely Lodge, because then I will be able to get enough mats that I will be able to sufficiently protect myself. And also I got that launch pad, which is can be a key item in the late game for rotating and everything. So right here, I am pretty much out of the view of anyone else in this game. So I'm just staying here because I will be able to survive and no one can hear me. And something you should do is make sure you're around weak walls if you're in a baller, because then if you need to get out of there quickly or someone's shooting, you can easily break them by boosting around with your baller and grappling to a wall and quickly get out of there to make a quick escape. So something else you should do is also mark the next zone, especially when it's getting later, so that you know like right when you get in zone and you are safe. This is good for if you are like building into zone, or if you don't pay attention to the minimap as much as you just pay attention to your screen. So right there, I did notice that I don't know how, but the dude got into my box. I think it was from up above. So as you can see, I'm trying to get out of there, and I got over here, so I switched to my metal because it is my strongest build. I'm trying to take these builds, at least the walls. So right here, as you can see, even though I'm trying to play passive as possible, I still went for those cheap shots. That will help you get a higher chance of winning, because then you never know if those few, like 20, 30 damage can make a difference of a game. So it's always good to, if you have chances that are safe, to go for like that little bit of chip damage on an enemy. So as you can see right here, I am marking this next zone because it is useful because if I'm not looking at my map while I'm playing the game, I won't know if I got into the zone. So as you can see, I switched to my launch pad because if I need to use my launch pad, it could make the difference between like the 1 second that it takes to switch could change it. And also something that you want to do is make sure that if you do have turrets, what you want to do is like you should probably drop them because they will get in the way of you switching to your launch pad if you don't hold it out. So if you do hear me like a second time, that is just because it was from the original recording, which isn't loud enough for the majority of the video, and it would be too hard for most people to hear. So if you couldn't tell, the recording has switched to the normal speed. So because this is one of the most important parts. So I marked the next zone, and because this guy was shooting me, I just got out. So as you can tell, I was quick to build the 1x1 to keep myself safe. And something you want to do is just work on like these scrim type builds. And as you can tell, I did get myself stuck here. So I went out, I was double ramping, and I was trying to take high ground. So as you can tell, these shockwaves do come in useful. I was able to get out of the situation and get on top of this tree to let the other two people fight it out and get each other low. And so something else you should do is with the place marker, you can use that and you can see if if somewhere that you want to go is going to be in zone. So I did kind of over shockwave it, but I knew that I would be able to be in zone, so I got this easy rotation. And also, just in case it does go to only, like if it's on a mountain and you are on top of the mountain, the zone is on top of the mountain, you should always try to do this in case it goes to just the zone being on top of the mountain at one point. Because then your opponent will probably take storm damage, which could cost them to lose enough health that they could either, 1, die or be too low. So as you can tell, I had the shockwave, and I noticed that he was out in the open. So something you can do is use the shockwave to launch your opponent out of storm. And I was able to use this to my advantage, so he took storm damage, and I was pressuring him with my shotgun. So he was not able to make it back alive, and I got the easy win. Even though it was only 1 kill, it is still a win, which is what most people care about. It is your wins that go on to stats, so if you want to get an easy win, you should definitely try this tactic. I haven't tested it yet, but considering it worked on my first try, it should be pretty good, and I hope you guys are able to use it to get plenty more wins. If you're having time, I'll bring that win count. So something else that you should do is, if you aren't already good at it, practice like just getting your ball broken by a friend and immediately building a 1x1 and going for height. And another thing you should try to do is tarping. So practice that in playground, creative, whatever, so where you do the floor and pyramid to keep high ground, because you want to also make sure that you don't get knocked down, especially if you don't have the items required to survive from a fall height. What do I mean? High height. Oh my god. So make sure to subscribe, like the video, turn on post notifications, and also share it with your friends if they aren't also having an easy time getting wins, and make sure that they subscribe also. So let's go. So hopefully this was useful for you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So just bye.